Tana Mongeau and Bryce Hall are no longer friends, and it's become a whole drama. In fact, Bryce is now claiming that him and Tana were never friends, and he's making it seem like she only ever posted them together for clout purposes. They've both unfollowed each other, and they've both kind of come out to publicly talk about what's sort of going on. And what Bryce has said recently hasn't made him look very good, especially since not too long ago, he was just getting called out for the way he talked about Tana on the Zach Sang show. During the episode, he was asked if he's ever hooked up with someone because of who they were, but wasn't attracted to them. And he said yes, and admitted it was Tana.
Have you ever been interested in someone or hooked up with someone because of who they were and you weren't fully attracted to them?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Well.
Should I drop it?
Yeah.
Tana. Back in 2019, Tana. Sorry, I had to say it.
We love Tana here.
I saw that you just did a thing with Tana.
So you slept with Tana just because you had the opportunity to sleep with Tana?
Yeah.
Truly so messed up to say, especially since everyone's under the impression that him and Tana are friends. But it seemed like he had no problem shutting that friendship door when he went on this show and said this. And it only got worse because he went on to explain his answer and he kept digging himself the biggest hole ever. It just made it look so bad.
That sounds so douchebaggy. Let me rephrase that. We were feeling each other, but I knew who she was, obviously, and I was like an up-and-coming guy. And then I did whatever was humanly possible to put myself in that scenario.
For what motive, though? What were your motives?
I was like, I want to do it to say I can't. I say I did it.
Got it. Yeah. That's not nice.
The whole situation of him being with Tana gets described as a business transaction, and Zach stands up for Tana because it just sounds horrible.
I'm gonna say something. I've been on the receiving end of a transaction where somebody only wants to like hook up with you or you know, solely because they're like interested because they just know you, not because of any other reason.
I was low-key a fan.
That. Yeah,
yeah.
But are you okay with that? You're okay with meeting somebody for the first time, not really actually meeting them for the first time?
Yeah.
Bryce just didn't seem to get why what he was saying was bad. But Tana was just as surprised as everyone else when they heard what he said on this show. She ended up responding to the situation on her own podcast.
Bryce, I have fought for him so hard.
You put him on the map.
Oh God, I have fought for him so hard. And I'm going through my timeline the other day, and I see this video. Amari, you are going to be floored. Like, you couldn't waterboard that out of me.
And he just freely said it. In fact, Zach didn't even ask him to elaborate, and he goes, I should say it. He goes, I should say it, Tana.
Bryce. And never once has Bryce said this to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, anytime Bryce brings up...
Well, I sure hope not. Imagine somebody came to you and said, I actually just fucked you for the clout. I would jump off.
Tana just couldn't believe that he would say such a thing. And Tana says that if she had liked Bryce or had a crush on him, she would have been super hurt by what he said. And luckily it was only a casual hookup, but she was still just like, what the heck, Bryce? Like, you know, come on now. And I know there's been a lot of people that have said that Tana said stuff like this before, and I know that Bryce is using that as a really big excuse, but I think in a lot of people's minds, it's like, because him and Tana just seem like really good friends, for him to say that just seems super effed up rather than like her talking about like a stranger. Like, obviously that's messed up and nobody wants to hear that, but it just makes it that much worse that Bryce is saying that about someone that everyone thinks he's friends with. But Tana talked more about Bryce somewhat more when she later went on the Saving Grace podcast. And on here, she revealed that she didn't help him promote his upcoming fight because of what he had said about her recently. He had tweeted out saying that he wanted Tana to say, "We team Bryce out here," just like she did before his fight with Austin McBroom, and it went viral. And obviously she didn't, because why would you want to help promote someone who basically just admitted they hooked up with you for clout and weren't even attracted to you?
That thing about Bryce Hall being like, yeah, Tana.
He tweeted today, was like, he has like a new fight, and he was like tweeting, I want Tana to say Team Bryce on God to like promote it. I need her to have it. I was like, didn't you just say you me for clout on a podcast 3 days ago?
Bryce ended up unfollowing Tana after this, and later went on BFFs and talked about how him and Tana are not friends, and that he doesn't like her or what she and the host said about him on the Saving Grace podcast. Like, it really ticked him off to the point that he unfollowed her, and he's now saying like they're not friends and never were.
I just don't like. I really don't like Tana. She just, I really don't. I think what she does is fake. But she got pissed at like what I said on that Zach Sang podcast, and it came out wrong. But she says that she people for clout all the time, and I said like, yeah, I hooked up with Tana for clout at the time, but then we grew to be friends. And then she goes on her own like podcast and just kind of like on me, and then says, because I tweeted something like, I need Tana to say she's Team Bryce on God for this fight. And she went on her podcast or somebody else's podcast or something. She said something like, oh, look, Bryce Hall tweeted at me trying to get promo for his fight because no one's going to watch it. Just basically on me. So I was just like, instead of me responding publicly, I just don't even want to associate with this girl. So I'm just going to unfollow her.
He then goes on to say how him and Tana were never actually friends, and all the stuff that him and Tana have posted together over the years was not something he really wanted to do.
Probably mad because you guys were actually friends, so she was like hurt by it.
I was never, okay, so big shocker, I was never friends with Tana. Like, I have never like called Tana, I've never talked to Tana. Every single time I'm in a vicinity and Tana's in the same vicinity, she'll grab her phone out and she'll film me and like hug me and grab me. And I'm just like, oh my God, this girl needs to stop like touching me. You can see it in like all of our videos. Like she would always grab me, try to kiss me. It was like, you know that vibe.
Yeah, I know
she
that
is.
vibe.
She is 100% that vibe. Like she's not friends with like all of these people that she makes it look like she's friends with online. She just films them.
Dave then chimes in to defend a little, saying that he doesn't really see Bryce saying to Tana like don't film and stuff like that. He seemed down to be in those videos with her. And I mean, if he's saying on Zach Sang that he hooked up for clout, and then suddenly we're supposed to believe that he didn't want clout by making TikToks with Tana, like of course you were down to make those TikToks, especially because in half of the TikToks with Tana, Bryce is literally filming them. Like he posted them on his account. It's not like Tana posted Bryce on her account and she's forcing him to be in these videos, and there's no proof of Bryce ever posting with Tana. Like he has videos on his own YouTube channel with her, and he has TikToks on his page with Tana. Like be so serious, Bryce. You guys both used each other's fame or whatever, and also you guys were friends. Like I don't know why he's trying to deny it, but that's exactly what he was doing. He was trying to deny it and say that he didn't want to film those TikToks and that he's not that type of person.
Also seems like kind of your vibe too, and I don't mean that negatively here, but like you and Tana like being like smoochy blah blah blah, like that seems like good for everybody. That's like good. Like why would? So I could totally see her doing what you're saying, but I won't see you being like, ooh, don't do that to me, Tana.
You can actually pull up like all of our, you can pull up like TikToks, like me and Tana. It's like me just kind of like, what is this TikTok? And she'll just be like, hey, film this TikTok with me. And she'll put it down and then she'll just press record. I just personally don't do that. So like the fact that she's mad at me for saying that on a podcast, I apologize. Like, sorry if it came across as like me being but for her to go on that podcast when she does the exact same thing, if not worse, is extremely hypocritical.
People were definitely not happy with the way that Bryce was talking about Tana, and all the comments were basically calling him out, even though this was just like a small portion of the BFFs podcast. A lot of people were just making note of how Bryce was, writing, Tana made Bryce likable amongst everyone hating him. This episode shows he never changed. This episode shows that Bryce has not matured at all. The fight went completely to his head in the worst way, and him saying that he and Tana were never friends is literally just not true. They both have publicly said they have been friends, and him acting like Tana has ever forced him to make content is insane when they both have filmed content for mutual beneficial clout. Let's just like not pretend it isn't extremely disrespectful for Bryce to talk about Tana the way he did on Zach Sang. Doesn't really matter how she talks about her life, doesn't change the fact it's wrong. Bryce is an ick. Bryce went full D-bag on this podcast. Need humble Bryce back. The whole thing is just a mess, and Bryce hasn't made himself look good in the situation at all. And even though people aren't always the biggest fans of Tana, there's a lot of people on her side with this one. But also, given that it's Tana, I'm sure that these two will probably make up sometime soon. I wouldn't be surprised to see them posting together sometime in the future, since, you know, she makes up with everyone that she falls out with. But I guess we'll just have to see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.